Thank you for joining me back here. I hope everybody will understand the severity of the situation. 3 years ago, I stood right over there and I made a video about how I was unlawfully arrested. And if we don't stop this, it's only going to get worse and it's going to happen to more and more people. And it has. It has. And to the judicial officers and the people who work within government and state actors who have seen this channel or maybe even written and put a bar complaint with this channel in on it, or maybe even dragged me into court because of what I say on this channel. I just wish for all of y'all to know, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but the only time I make videos about state actors is when they're violating the law. The only time I publish my private recordings is when the law is being broken. The only reason I do it is because I pray to the Heavenly Father that people wake up to the God-given rights that are bestowed upon them by their Creator and not the government. And they honor that Father and stand with each other to make sure we can secure those rights for our children. But to all the government actors, I don't make videos about you unless you do something wrong. And if I'm lying, come sue me. If what I do is slanderous or libel, you're a judge, you're an officer, you're a lawyer, come sue me. I'm about to show the public this documentation right here. And I just wish for the public to know they can't produce the file anymore. It's a public file. They can't produce it. They're trying to lock a man up just because of a piece of paper. Of a piece of paper not even sworn to. Nobody even says it's true. But the judicial officer, Emily Cowan, she accepted it as an affidavit in law, okay, which means that it's sworn testimony. And if you don't know that much about the law, I hope you know thou shalt not bear false witness. Because that's kind of the entire pillar that our legal system is based upon. And what Emily Cowan just said is that doesn't matter anymore. We don't care about bearing false witness. We can just make stuff up and drag you into court and beat you up and take your property and waste your time. Make sure you can't go to work on time because we're Emily Cowan. And I apologize if people think that, oh, he's not being so Christian. He's getting angry and aggressive. He should be forgiving. Let somebody come and steal all of your property and see how forgiving you are. Better yet, why don't you just go give it to them before they come and steal all of your property? Okay, right here. Here's the order to show cause. And this is dated October 14, 2021 at 12:02 p.m. This is the order to show cause dated October 14, 2021 at 12:02 p.m. If you're used to watching my videos, you know that's going to be important. It says right here, after reviewing said verified motion for contempt, which the court treats as an affidavit, it appears that a prima facie case, which basically means, I don't read Latin, but it basically means, you know, on the surface of the face. It's clear. It's self-evident. Like your God-given rights are self-evident. For the relief prayed for, see, they're praying to the court. They're praying to their gods, not yours, has been shown, and that the defendant should appear and show cause, if any he may have. Can you believe that they wrote that in there? If he even has any cause to not go to jail for doing nothing. October 14, 2021, Emily Cowan. Like I said, this is dated. This was time-stamped at 12:02. Here is the motion. Unverified. And before I go any further, let me kind of explain something in law, because I know a lot of people don't actually understand some of the meanings of the words. So this comes out of Cornell Law, EDU. The definition for verification: a declaration swearing that statements made in a document are true. Depending on the jurisdiction, verifications are either made under oath or in the presence of a notary, which a notary is supposed to swear you in before they notarize your document. That is the actual procedure. Or a similarly authorized person, like a magistrate or a judicial officer. Verifications are traditionally attached to the end of all pleadings. All pleadings have to be verified in law that are required to be sworn. Also called an affidavit of verification. You see, because man and woman was created in God's image, they have a living voice, and with that living voice, they can speak truth, which truth is supposed to be the most powerful thing in a courtroom, right? It's supposed to be about truth and justice. So here's the motion for contempt, October 14, 12:02 p.m. Comes now the plaintiff by and through counsel and moves the court for an order holding the defendant in contempt for her refusal to abide by this court's order and show unto the court the following. Well, first of all, it's actually a him. It's actually a he. It's actually a man that they're pulling into a court, not a her. Okay? That's pretty important. The parties entered into a consent order. Nah, he ain't consent. Believe me. Which provided that the minor children shall have no contact with their grandmother. His offspring can't know where they came from, can't learn about their heritage, and they can't do this because I don't know exactly what happened, but I'll probably produce some recordings. But the grandmother, Mima, was watching the little man and the little woman in training, and they told her heinous things happened to them over at mom's house by the boyfriend. And DSS got involved. And while DSS got involved, apparently the mother, at the direction of her attorney, I believe, I don't remember exactly, but I'll have to go back and listen to the recording, kept the children away from Allan on his parenting weekend when he could have had them forensically examined to prove the allegations that were made. This is all on the record of the court. But Meemaw's the bad one. We got to keep the one protecting the children away from them. And we got to use unverified court orders that don't have consent, that we have to threaten people into to do it. The purpose of this order may still be served by compliance with the order. That actually doesn't make any sense to me in English. The purpose of this order may still be served by compliance with the order. Yeah, the purpose will be fulfilled if you just do it. Sorry, I've been working tirelessly. I've been getting a lot of phone calls. The defendant has willfully and without legal justification or excuse failed and refused to comply with the terms of the order, in that on numerous occasions since the entry of the foregoing order, the defendant has allowed the minor children to be left alone in the care of Meemaw, in the care of their biological grandmother who is trying to protect them. That's awful. We got to put a stop to that. The defendant has had and presently has the means and ability whereby to comply with the order, or is able to take reasonable measures that ensure him to comply with the order. The plaintiff should be adjudicated in willful civil and criminal contempt of this court pursuant to the provisions of the North Carolina gods called statutes 5A21, 5A12. I don't know what their code means. I can't understand it. I don't speak North Carolina code of statues and false gods. I'm sorry. I don't understand that language. I'm a man. I grew up speaking English and speaking the law of my creator, my father. So I don't understand that part. I wish I could explain it to you. The plaintiff has insufficient means to defray the costs, expenses, and attorney's fees incurred as a result of this action, and he is therefore entitled to reasonable attorney fees. So not only are we going to just make up a bunch of BS against you, just make some stuff up, not verify it, not have any firsthand knowledge of the facts, okay? How are they going to have firsthand knowledge of the facts that he is willfully and without justification or excuse violating the order? They haven't even asked him about it. How are you having firsthand knowledge of the facts of that? Or that he has the means and ability to comply with the order. How do you have firsthand knowledge of the facts of that? Tell me that. What if there's an emergency that happens? What if there's absolutely nothing else that he can do? What if nobody else is around except for Meemaw? You have no firsthand knowledge of the facts. You can't verify those things. That's perjury. That's lying before the court. That's exactly what Greg Newman did. But apparently, the mic gets cut when I try talking about that. Get invited to, hey, come show us how to correct the government and hold government officials liable and responsible. Great. Wonderful. I have been dreaming about this day for years. I start saying step-by-step directions on how to do it. Cut his mic! Cut his mic! And I understand why the state officers made that decision. Because criminals don't like getting caught. They don't like being exposed. They can't commit crimes when you put a light on it and expose it and tell everybody about it. And it takes a lot of courage and a lot of faith in your creator to do that. Which is why I have so much respect and admiration for Valerie Owenby. And the only reason that they won't uphold the laws because they know that the public doesn't care enough about children getting raped, getting molested, because everybody's too afraid of the court to do anything about it. So nobody's going to do anything about it. They're going to be like, well, the judge signed an order against you. How do you think the only judge in the universe, the only one true sovereign of the universe, is going to judge you for doing nothing and standing by and watching this happen? Knowing about it, not showing up. And if you don't show up, what makes you think that anybody's going to show up for you? Like, if we can't hold a rapist liable and a woman can't get her rights to have prosecution of a man who raped her and a man who was an accessory after the fact, what makes you think that that courthouse is going to uphold your rights at all? Oh, because you're going to go pay an attorney $50,000? Guess what? That means you don't have a right. You have a privilege if you can afford it. And if you can outbid the next person going against you. And if it's politically favorable to them. Now I'm going to return to this unverified motion. So, wherefore the plaintiff respectfully prays, they're praying to the judgment of the court as follows. They're praying to the gods of the court. The first thing they're praying for, that this verified motion be allowed and taken as an affidavit in support of the plaintiff's prayer for relief. They're praying to the court, please court, take this motion that I'm just going to say is verified and consider it an affidavit so I might have that element of law to pursue. This persecution of an honest, hardworking man who's trying to protect his children. And I already read to you the order from the court. The court accepted it as an affidavit. That means she's either an incompetent judicial officer or she knowingly and willfully broke the law. I don't know which one it is. No, I don't know. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say it was judicial neglect. I'm not going to accuse her of a crime. The second thing that they pray for, that an immediate order be issued from this court requiring the defendant to appear and show cause, if any he may have. Show cause for what? Show cause that I love and try and protect my children, my offspring? Show cause that I believe that they should know my mom? If any, that the defendant be adjudged in willful civil and criminal contempt of this court for failure to abide by the terms of the order entered in this cause, and that he be punished by imprisonment for as long as the civil contempt continues as provided by one of their statutory gods again. I don't understand that. They're asking the court, they are praying to the court to lock this man up for trying to protect his children and be an honorable man of God and raise his son and daughter to be a man and a woman in God's image. That an order be entered directing the defendant to pay the attorney's fees and expenses incurred by the plaintiff seeking enforcement of this court's order. So not only do they wish to lock him up, they wish for him to pay for them to lock him up with fraudulent court documentation. And this is just the start. This is the thing why I'm making the video right now. See, because before, and they're still trying to just take his property and violate private contracts that the government has no business being in the middle of. So if you're a contractor or you've gotten into contracts that would be in your favor, or you're a property owner, or if you just enjoy freedom and you don't wish to be afraid of your government locking you up because people just don't like you, you should be really concerned about this case. If you appreciate the fact that we live in America and we have rights and due process of law, I implore you to be at the Hendersonville County Courthouse on the 15th and make sure that that courthouse upholds law with paper, pen, and ink. Otherwise, they're going to rob you with paper, pen, and ink. And that the plaintiff be granted any other such, whatever the court, whatever you wish to give us, whatever else you wish to give us. That'd be great. No verification. Okay, there's no part on there that says that it's sworn to, it's subscribed. There's no first-hand knowledge of the facts. Absolutely no elements in law. And then here's a certificate saying that he was served a copy by the Sheriff's Department, by the Henderson County, North Carolina Sheriff's Department. He's requiring to know the sheriff who served him and to get him on the stand so he can ask him a couple of questions like what he was wearing and who he was with, because they did this on the 14th of October. His grandfather died on the 13th of October. A lot of witnesses around. Families all together. Nobody else saw him got served. Nobody knew he got served. It was a surprise to all of the family. And on the order, it says that he has to be at court on the 18th of October. They issue this on the 14th. They give him 4 days. Okay, that's trial by ambush. And on the 19th, on the morning of the 19th, he had plans with his family to bury his grandfather. So they put this into the court at the exact same time, a day after his grandfather dies, and a day before they're going to have the ceremony and put him in the ground is when the court date is. They never serve him, so if he didn't show up, they would have issued a warrant for his arrest, and he would have been in jail, which I don't know if that was the plan or not, but it seems awfully suspicious to me. And by the way, I don't understand or comprehend North Carolina statutes, but even in their statutes, what I can tell from English, or at least the way it appears to me in English, is that you have to give them at least 5 days, and that's business days, which means like a week notice. So here's what he says to them. He files this, and then apparently, I guess the file disappears. Each point that follows can already be found on the record of the court. It's already in that file that you got that you're going to put this piece of paper in. Documents, title, motion for contempt, and show cause order are filed with court clerk time and date stamp of October 14 at 12:02 around noon. 12:02 p.m. around noon. On or about October 14, 2021, Tamara M. Lee, who is the attorney moving this vexatious bar tree litigation against him and trying to get the court to order him to pay for her to do these atrocious crimes. Tamara M. Lee certified that Henderson County Sheriff Officer had already served myself with motion and order. I received documents by email only 3 hours and 3 minutes after time of clerk stamp. He lives about an hour away. And he was with his family grieving. Document titled Motion for Contempt is not verified, sworn to, or offered under pains and penalty of perjury. Okay, aka it's not an affidavit, it's not a verified statement, and it appears to be fraud upon the court against him. Document titled Show Cause Order has date and mark, presumably by Emily Cowan, because he doesn't have any first-hand knowledge of the facts. He didn't see Emily Cowan do it. He can only presume because it has her name on it. Maybe looks like her signature and the clerks stamped it, but you know they could be lying. And display authority of Emily's judicial person, to wit, creation of document on October 14 and court to be held 4 days later on October 18 is trial by ambush. Point 5. Contempt documents contains no facts, dates, specifics, or evidence on the face of the case of any allegations someone could imagine from contempt document content. Okay, so basically there was nothing in there. It didn't say, hey, he had his Meemaw watch the children on October 10th for 3 hours, or, you know, she watched them while he went hunting down in Georgia. It didn't have any specifics. It was just like, he violated the statute. He did it willfully. Well, when? How? What happened? It appear that Tamara pray court punish Allan, and reward Tamara for fraudulent and vexatious litigation. And then it goes on to say, procedure and law. See, this is how the motion and order is supposed to work. Okay? And this is just my opinion. It's not legal advice. It's just how the law operates. That's all. And again, if I'm lying, come sue me. Okay, I don't know when the camera cut off because, well, yeah, I'm broke. I don't get paid a whole lot because I have to live off donations because I'm not an attorney. I can't sell man and woman's souls, so let me just go back for a minute. Procedure in law is for motion to be filed with court clerk and have proposed order attached. After filing with clerk, a judicial officer is to review motion and issue order if cause, if any, shall be found. Time proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that documents, motion for contempt, and show cause order could not possibly follow this process of law, as said documents are time-stamped by the clerk at the same day, on the same day, at the same moment. It appears Emily Cowan show favoritism to Tamara and prejudice to myself. Now, if I was a judicial officer and I read this, and I'm not giving any legal advice, I'm not talking about anything legal, okay? Because I can't do that, because I can't get paid, because only bar licensed attorneys with the Bar Association can talk about that stuff, so I just talk about law. And, you know, you don't have to have faith in what I would do in law, because I'm a high school dropout who learned law down at a law library to try and save my son's future, the light of my world. But if I were a judicial officer and I saw this, what I would do is I would throw the case out immediately and claim that I was negligent in my judicial due diligence. Because you're only civilly liable for that. I'm sorry, everybody. You know, I just saw the paperwork. I just got back from lunch. I didn't really look over it. I trusted Tamara. She said she had a verified complaint in the proposed order, so I went ahead and signed it. My bad. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. No harm, no foul. You know, he went home. That's what I would have done if I were the judicial officer who signed that document, pulling him in without the elements in law. What do? They pull him in on November 1st. And we go to witness, and I had a bunch of faith that they were going to do the right thing, because I generally like to have faith in people that they will do the right thing. They wasted our entire day, and they pulled him back again. All of the people at the courthouse, they get paid to be there. We don't get paid to watch them. They know that. They know that if they just waste our time all the time, eventually just nobody's going to show up. Those courthouses are for you. It says in your Constitution that no man or woman can be denied right to access a courthouse and receive justice without prejudice or delay. Without delay. They held us there all day. They held him there on the 18th, half of the day, knowing his family was grieving, continuing to pull him back into court with no elements of law. It's possible that by the stroke of a pen, they're going to steal all of his property from him. All because his mom wished and wishes to protect her grandbabies and take care of them. And look, I know for a fact that there are good people in there. I've talked to them. I know for a fact that there are good people in the government, good representatives, good judicial officers. But I'm telling you right now, in every single courthouse across this country, they are outnumbered. They cannot be righteous and uphold the law without our help. And I am deathly afraid that if they see that nobody in the public cares about them breaking the law because they can just cut my mic off at a convention. And thank you, everybody in the crowd who yelled for them to turn it back on. You don't know how much that means to me, especially because in my own circles, people just kicked me out of groups and censored me and cut me off from an audience. So the fact that all of the people at that rally who were yelling for them to turn the microphone back on, who were calling for their leaders to uphold my right to free speech, not knowing me, not having a relationship with me, it really means a lot to me. It really does. Because sometimes it's hard to know that we're going to win. So thank you, everybody who did that. But if they see that they can violate the law and nobody in the public cares, they're going to know nobody cares. And it's my personal belief that the only reason they're doing this to this man is to punish him for having faith in me. Because attorneys robbed him relentlessly. And they're trying to punish him because I made that speech saying, hey, we should hold government actors accountable. Because that's kind of what the common law is all about. It's the only form of law that's applicable to the government for protection of private rights and property. And the only way the common law gets upheld or enforced is if you uphold it. And we have to uphold it with each other. And if they can cut the mic off on me, and they can take away Allan's property and throw him in jail and punish him and take away his children because he's trying to protect them, if they're not held liable to that, it's basically the same as giving them permission. So we have to support the good people in those places. We have to come together as Americans. Otherwise, we have no future. None. And I get it, people have to work. People have things to do. People have lives. They have jobs. They have mortgages. They have bills they have to pay. But I'm just going to tell you this right now. If what's happening in this country goes into full effect, none of that stuff is going to matter. And if we don't keep the force and ability and rights of law and due process, none of that stuff matters. But I understand if you can't make it to court. But if you have just been relieved of your job because of the vaccine mandates, or you know how valuable your soul is, and you chose to leave because it went against your God-given conscience and you don't have anything to do, please come up to the courthouse and help us keep our rights and rights for our children. There's a lot more to this story, but what I would ask is that everybody watches the last video that I posted. I forget the name of it right now, but it's only about a minute and 45 seconds or something. And there's 5 videos tagged in there. They're pretty much some of the most atrocious things that I've made videos about this year. Definitely watch True Law Explained with Philip Kent, because they did this to him. They arrested him for taking his children camping at the beginning of the summer. He's a veteran. And please watch the last tag video I posted, because I have a recording of me arguing with a judicial officer in North Carolina, in this district, in this jurisdiction. And you can decide who's right and who's wrong. God gave you a conscience. Use it. The reason I talk about law is because it's so simple. It's not complex like statutory idols. And the reason it's simple is because the law is written on your heart. And God is the individual who writes law on your heart. And just like He can write law on your heart, He can take law right off of your heart. I've seen Him do it multiple times. But the law is written on your heart. Follow your heart. Choose what you wish to do. Choose wisely. And I pray to my Heavenly Father that everybody follows the law on their heart. And God help us if they do not. And if everybody does follow the law that's placed on their heart, may God help the ones who refuse His love and refuse to listen to the law He places on their heart. Because I can't speak for that man, but in my opinion, He will probably judge those people pretty harshly. But it's not my place to judge anybody. Anyways, I apologize for this taking so long. I apologize that it took so long to get this out. I hope everybody understands how tirelessly I'm working to save all of our rights and the ability of us to have freedom given to us by our sovereign Creator, and the right to administrate our own families. Because just like I tell my little man in training, when he calls for a vote at the dinner table, I'm like, you live under a benevolent dictatorship. But I'm training you to be a man so that you can govern yourself. But until then, the Heavenly Father entrusted me to govern you, little man. And I take that job very seriously. And I will not fall, I will not stumble, and I will not falter. And to any government officer who has a problem with the things I'm saying, I will not fear, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And my man, Christ, Jesus, he was cool with hanging up right next to a murderer and a thief. But when he talked about lawyers, he said, "Whoa unto you. You have the keys to the kingdom of heaven. You enter not yourself, and you prevent those who try to enter." Think about that in your decision on who you wish to trust. A high school dropout who went to a law library, or the Henderson County Courthouse. But you have free will. Anyways, thank you, and God bless us all. There are lawyers, there are judicial officers, there are good people who wish to help us bring heaven to earth. That's our job. I'll have the next video for you when I can. Thank you for everybody who's supporting and following. And again, I really appreciate all of the people who spoke up for me to turn the microphone back on. And if you're on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, Justice for District 42, or Justice for NC District 42. Please come and join us there so that we can connect and communicate. I have a Telegram channel called Just Conspiracy. On Telegram, we have a Telegram chat called Common Law Wise Words, words with a Z. Oracle, otherwise known as Joni, has a Facebook page called Just Cause. Monarch has a YouTube channel. He's very good at taking the audios from the Wednesday night calls where I offer my opinions out of love. And he breaks down the audios and he puts them up on YouTube. That's called Wise Words with JC and Friends. I'll put links in the description, but I don't know if anybody's ever noticed. I get censored a lot. I quit putting links in the description because I got so many comments about how they wouldn't work. I know that a lot of people complain about comments not being posted, that they'll post comments and they're not being posted. The NSA is real. And as long as this movement, and as long as people keep complaining on the internet and doing things on the internet, and they don't actually take real action in real life at the real courthouses, the NSA is going to be able to control the opinions, thoughts, and beliefs. And they're going to be able to separate the people who should really be connected and stick together. For all the people who've been asking me to do common law classes and common law courses, I apologize for not putting more attention to that right now, but I'm going to tell you this right now, that if we don't get law upheld in this situation, you're basically going to be asking me to start teaching a history class. Anyways, we are Just Conspiracy. We just wish to conspire with other good people of this planet to leave a better world for future generations than the world we all grew up in. 1, world, love, and peace.